Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Piper Report. So there is a push for a dereliction of duty charge against, well, one officer in particular, but also I think it's 4 different officers regarding the whole Florida school shooting that happened recently. And I completely agree with this. He, and possibly them, should be charged with dereliction of duty. It all comes down to the basic premise. Why do police officers have guns? When you ask yourself that question, what is the answer to it? The answer should not be just because it looks cool. Just because it looks cool to have one on your belt. That is not the correct answer. The answer is to protect and serve, and sometimes you may have to use your firearm in the line of duty, but that is your job. Sometimes you have to put your life on the line in the line of duty, but again, that is the job. If you do not want to do that, then you should not be a police officer. Likewise, if you do not want to deal with people in trauma, you should not be a paramedic. If you think the human body is disgusting, the inside is, then you should not be a surgeon. I mean, these are common sense. This is common sense. Who knows what could have happened if, when the officer was there, if he would have went inside like he was supposed to do, and instead not be a coward and hide behind his car. Again, I'm sure it was scary for him. Probably his first time he ever was actually in that kind of situation. And I would be scared too, but I am not a police officer. I was not trained to be a police officer. I carry a gun with me, but that's because I have a permit. He carries a gun for his job. Who knows what could have happened? More kids could have been saved. But a cop decided, no, you know what? I'm going to sit out here. I'm going to watch and listen to the whole firearms, the whole guns being shot. And then when it finally does stop, the gun shooting that is, I'm still going to stay outside. It's like, come on. When Coral Springs police officers arrived at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on Valentine's Day, they saw not just the officer assigned to the school, but 3 more Broward police officers with pistols drawn but taking cover behind their cars as a gunman was inside killing 17 students and staff. When those Coral Springs police entered the building, the 4 original Broward officers on scene did not join them, sources told CNN. It's unclear whether the shooter was still in the building when they arrived. One day earlier, Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel held a press conference at which he acknowledged the armed deputy on duty at the high school never entered the building where last week's slayings were occurring. Since Columbine, 1999, this is important now, it has been standard protocol for authorities on site not to wait for backup or reinforcements, but to engage the gunman immediately and disrupt the spray of gunfire. Instead, the deputy, who was on duty at Stoneman Douglas on February 14th in uniform and armed, chose instead to stand outside the building for at least 4 of the 6 minutes it took the gunman in to dispatch 17 former classmates and school staff, a distressed Israel told reporters Thursday afternoon. Okay. Let's dissect that a little bit. Is it possible that if the officer went inside that nothing would have changed? That people would have died? The same amount of people would have died, possibly more people would have died, and maybe the officer himself would have died. Is it possible that that could have happened? Yes, that is entirely possible. So, did the officer have some justification for doing so? No, he didn't. Now, if he was a security guard, then maybe I could agree with that. Like, you know what? He's not trained for this. He's a security guard. He's supposed to basically break up fights and do this and do that. But no, he is a police officer. There is a big discrepancy between being a security guard with maybe a nightstick and maybe a taser and being a trained officer with a gun. This officer should be charged with dereliction of duty. He should be fired and he should be dishonorably discharged. There's no honor in this. There's no honor in sitting back for, 85% of the shooting. And then still not going in after the other police officers arrive. Now, one might say, well, wait a second. I mean, he probably has a family too. He probably has kids at home. Maybe he was thinking that he didn't want to die. Yeah, maybe he did. But then he should switch professions. Then he should not be a police officer. Then he should man up and go do something else. It's that simple. If you can't hack the job, then don't do the job. If you can't do the job, then don't pretend you can. Quit. Change majors. It's that simple. People have died. And this cop probably only cared about himself and his family. Protect and serve means a lot. Protect and serve the public, not yourself. This cop should definitely be fired. He should be charged with dereliction of duty. And he's a disgrace. Disgrace to all of those in uniform. That's basically all I can say about it. It's disgrace. It's just a huge disgrace to all the other officers who, when they arrived, they actually entered. That's what bravery is. And this is what cowardly actions are. And I'm done.